This is a story of how I actually end up getting bigger. Now, it's often people ask me, "Oh, how did you get so much muscle? How do I get like you? Um, how long did it take you to get here? What do I need to do in order? What exercise do I need to do in order to get like you?" Well, the truth is, in which I don't relay enough, in which I probably should, is that I prayed for this. And as ridiculous as it sounds to some people, I prayed, I cried. There was many nights that I asked for this over and over and over and over and over again. And my faith in Jesus and God has brought me here. So it all started when I was around 16, 17, and I was starting to notice, in school at least, how much bigger the other kids were. Of course, they're in sports and stuff and playing playing sports, and then the weight room too, and I wasn't doing much of that stuff, and I didn't even know what a weight room was at that time. So they're developing a lot faster than I was, and I'm still some like little skinny twig in my mind. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't malnourished or anything like that. I didn't have any sicknesses or anything other than like my allergies or whatever. But that being said, I could tell the difference. And if you're fine with your body, that's perfectly fine. And that's great. But for me, in that instance, I was not. I knew that I wanted something better. Like, this wasn't the end all be all for me. And I didn't want to be that small for the rest of my life, from matching on par with the girls in school. So one day I just sat down and I was listening to some type of Bible radio station, and they were doing prayer and stuff. And so I was like, oh, you know what? Let me join in on this. My parents didn't make me do it or anything like that. I just happened to find it. And so I started praying, and I ended up praying for that almost all the times that we prayed on the radio station or whatever. And it would be many a nights I'm asking for this and praying for it. And eventually I asked my dad, hey, I wanted to get a little bit bigger. What do I need to do? And so luckily for me, my dad had been working out since forever. He had spent some time incarcerated, so it wasn't really much for them to do other than work out, right, and educate themselves at that time. In that time, you could get like degrees and stuff in college and stuff to study and everything like that while you're doing your time. They don't have that anymore, but luckily for me, he did have that, so he's able to spread that knowledge to me. So then he started showing me like how to do variations of push-ups. He started me off with like 25, then 50, and then 100, and then we're going to go through 1,000. And I just kept doing them and learning from him. And he taught me how to eat a little bit better with an actual purpose and a motive. And everything started to fall in place. And with that, on top of praying, I owe everything to God, to Jesus, to bring those things into my sphere in order to be able to do those things. I feel like everything that we learn and go through, regardless of them being good or bad in our current perspective, may not be just for us. I feel like these kind of things can also be for people that we're going to meet in the future, whether it be our kids, the next generation, or a friend, or some random person that we may meet and may cross our paths with. They might need to hear something that we had learned in our own paths. And I feel like that kind of happened there. And the saying goes, ask and you shall receive. And the same with knowledge too. If you ask for it, you shall receive it. And that's pretty much what happened. And today paying it forward and teaching you guys, whoever listens to this, how they can do the same thing. All glory to God.